on me though.
If you say anything, if I get uncomfortable, it's exactly what I'm going to do.
Goodbye. Right, well, and hello, goodbye, hello, goodbye, hello. And we're back. We are actually live.
Oh, we are. Okay, we're
So
officially here.
Okay, so hello, welcome to Midnight Society Book Club. This is our, what month is it? March. This is our March meeting.
It is March.
Oh,
already.
Yeah, it is almost April, but it's still March.
Yeah.
So yeah, welcome back, all the things. As usual, we're going to be discussing our book club book this month, which was Paper Cut by Rachel Taff. I can't see your book. Okay, all right, there it is. You have to put it in your face
directly in front of my face.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to be talking about Paper Cut by Rachel Taff. I have no idea what Sandra thought of it. We haven't discussed it at all yet, so we'll get into all of that. We're going to start with a non-spoiler section. We will move into spoilers after that. So if you have not read the book or if you haven't finished it, like, you're good for now. We'll let you know when the spoilers are popping in. And what else? Yeah, that's kind of the intro. I have with me Saundy P, who is my BFF, and you may recognize her from several other live discussions that we've done in the past. I do have her information linked in the discussion down top in the, what is it called? Comments?
Yes, the
comments.
Caption?
Yeah. So go follow her. Go follow her. She's awesome. And she just, as we'll learn, has a new platform now. So we're going to try to send her some loving.
Yeah.
So plan today. I do have a little game in store. But first, Saundy, for anyone who's not met you before, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and where we can find you, those type of things, and like what kind of books you like to read, all of that.
Hello, I'm Saundy P. And I've just started a channel on IG, a page on IG, a channel, I don't know. Anyways, and on BookTube. So I haven't really started fully, like I've got a couple things on. So it's Saundy P _reads. So Saundy P reads. Look me up, follow me, all the things. And as far as like books, what type, I always say that I'll read anything and then I'll start to read stuff and then I'm just like, I don't know. But I really like a good background story. I do like some thrillers. I love like lit fic. I will try at least to read anything. That's not true. I will totally, even if I don't, and I have a really hard problem like not DNFing things. So I'll like totally hate read things as well. So I like the collecting. I've told myself I wasn't going to buy any books this year, and then I've bought so many, but none from Amazon, so I'll consider that a win. And I love going to bookstores. I love smelling books. I'm one of those people. I like discovering new indie bookstores, all that kind of stuff. I like all the nuances that are involved with it. I work in public health care. I do community outreach. And that is, I won't talk too long about myself, but that's
no. Okay, question though. If you buy a used book and it has writing or highlighting already in it, are you mad or are you excited about that? What's your
I love it. I love it. Because it's like part of the history with the book. I love when you happen to get something and there is like it was a present for somebody 20-30 years ago and that's in there from whoever it's from and like why they think they may like the book or why they bought it. I love that. And I feel like it's just like it's kind of this really cool history that you're passing down regardless of what kind of book it is. It could be whatever, just like a fun little romance book. It could be something super deep and heavy. I love it. It's are part of someone else's story that's not just the book story.
Yeah, that's what I love about it too. And then you get to see like which points affected the other person that read it. Some points where you're going to highlight, it's not going to be the same point where someone else is going to highlight.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, hey, welcome. Okay, so before we actually get into the book, I think I'm actually gonna wait before we do the like brief description of what the book's about, because I want to do a quick little fun game. Cue the lights. No, I'm just kidding. What if it like lit up like Cash Cab? That was in my mind right
That
there.
would have been amazing. Next time.
Yeah, that was my picture. Not so much. Okay, so I have this fun little game, and it's called Cult, Self-Help, or Paper Cut. Okay, I'm gonna give you a quote. You can guess in the live comments here as well, if you want to. And so I'm gonna give you a quote, and you tell me if you think that quote is from this book, from general self-help, or from a cult leader, like the quote from a cult leader.
Yeah.
Love it. Great. Oh, yeah. Once, and the shop owner tisked at how wrong it was to do that. I don't.
Call.
Yeah, no. I love that. I love it. Okay, so are you ready? All right. Quote number 1.
Okay.
They've already judged you. They hate you because you're free. What do you think? Is that a cult leader? Is that a self-help quote? Or is that from this book? They've already judged you. They hate you because you're free.
Oh my gosh, I thought this was going to be easier than what it was, but now I'm just thinking about how
the point is that it's like, there's such a slim margin of error in here between the two, you know?
Yeah.
You want to take a guess?
I'm going to go self-help.
All right, that is actually cult. That is Charles Manson, the Manson family. Number 1.
I mean, some people would have said he was, self-help.
Yeah. No, I know, that's the whole thing. They're also it's so similar. Next one. It all starts with the sun. We spend the day bathed in its light. It helps us see our path.
Paper cut.
Yes, that is a quote from Max on page 128. Good job. All right, here we go. So this one is, as you grow older, you will discover that you have 2 hands, one for helping yourself and the other for helping others. Who might that be? Cult, self-help, or paper cut?
Self-help.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
You're correct. That is Maya Angelou.
Oh, thank God.
All right. Okay. Next one. Cult, self-help, or paper cut?
Okay.
I am the chosen one.
Okay. Either it's cult. Oh no, or is it self-help?
It's actually a trick question. It's not paper cut. It's not cult, technically. And it's also not self-help. That is Donald Trump in 2019 regarding the trade negotiations with China. So I tricked you.
So it is cult.
Oh yeah, we'll go with cult. So you got it. Okay. All right. We bring the collective unconscious back into balance where it belongs, so the outside forces of evil cannot break it. You think that is cult, self-help, or paper cut?
Oh, shoot. That is very paper cutty, but I'm trying to remember if that was in that one.
Bring the collective unconscious back into balance where it belongs, so the outside forces of evil cannot break it.
I think paper cut. I'm going to go paper cut.
Ding, ding, ding. You're right. It is paper cut. That is Eden from page 71. Mm-hmm. All right, let's do a couple more. I don't want to drag it out too long. More. All right. The world that doesn't want you to know the truth about your potential. Start over. The world doesn't want you to know the truth about your potential, but we will show you. Do you think that is cult, self-help, or
the world does not want you to know the truth about? Oh God, paper cut. Oh God, they're also similar. Paper cut.
Final answer?
Sure.
Incorrect. That is Cult. That is L. Ron Hubbard of Scientology.
Oh.
Yes. Okay. All right, last one. Okay. You either walk inside your story and own it, or you stand outside your story and hustle for your worthiness.
Self-help.
Yes. I think the word hustle gives it away, but that is Brene Brown.
That was Brene Brown?
That was fun, though.
To be fair, I may have read that, so.
That's true. That's true. But it just goes to show that, like, the rhetoric between self-help and cults is oftentimes, like, so close. It's just, like, straight. It's in a lot of times overlapping, too. So
100%. I mean, what's his name? The tall dude with like the weird, with like the oddly shaped head. I can't think of his name right now because perimenopause, but he has like people at his,
Is it Jason Segel?
Self-help. No.
Oh, is it Tony Robbins?
Like, yes. He's got people walking on coals at his gathering. And you know what? If there's one thing I know about myself throughout the years is I can judge these things, but I really think I could easily tiptoe around the sides of some cults.
What do you mean by tiptoe around the sides?
I mean, there was a point where I think that I'd be like, yeah, I want to see if I can walk on coals to be a better version of myself. So
yeah, since you've mentioned that, I do feel like I am actually in the perfect time in my life to be susceptible to a cult right now, because I'm like, I'm looking for a new job. I am in the middle of a lot of things, and I need a passion right now, you know? And so I feel like right now, if somebody were to come up to me and be like this like shining light and like give me all of this reinforcement and try to like take me, I might be susceptible. So I just got to keep
I'll wait till we discuss the book, and at the end, if we have time, I will tell you a very very short, but I feel like the book, like talking about the book and then about an experience I had when I was very young plays into it. So I will tell you at the end of the hour.
Book. Speaking of that,
yeah.
Do you feel comfortable giving a brief, non-spoiler description for anyone that has not seen this or seen it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've got Paper Cut by Rachel Taff, and it is talking about Lucy Golden, and she is an author, and it sounds like the only book she's ever written has been specifically about a cult situation in her teenage years that she got wrapped up in. And now things are coming back to light. There is a documentary that she's going to be a part of by Isaac so-and-so. Same I can't remember, but Isaac. And that's what he's known for. And so she's very popular in the true crime circles. You know, it's been 20 years since she released the book almost. And that's her entire livelihood is based off of this story that she has printed. And so now they're doing the documentary, and things will come to light, but what will they be? I think that's kind of without spoiling too much. I don't know, but
yeah, no, that's great. I would also add, though, that she does let us know at the very beginning that she has a secret, that she's not told the entire truth in this memoir. And so, and also the way that the formatting of this is set up is like, we're getting excerpts from the memoir, and those are essentially counting as the like past timeline. So, and then in the current timeline, we're getting the interviews where Isaac is interviewing her and people from her past and all kinds of things. And so there's a lot in between that we don't get. But I really liked the way that she formatted this and the way that
that was really cool.
Yeah, I felt like it was very suspenseful, because that secret, like the thing that she wasn't telling us, that kept me so interested the whole time, because I was like, what is it? What is it? Like, what else could it be? What is she lying about?
Well, and then it's interesting because there's really more than one secret, right? There's like multiple secrets.
Yeah.
you know, so but yeah, I really liked how it went back and forth, and then the family dynamics are really interesting as well. That adds to the suspense and all of that.
So there was
Yeah.
probably the first spoiler that happened, or the first twist that we get. I kind of was thinking about what I had told you when I first started it about your association with it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I didn't know it was going there, but it still tracks."
Yeah. For sure.
So, okay, I'm curious because I'm predicting that you didn't like Lucy as a character, because I did
Really?
like her. In my mind, you hated her and you were really annoyed the whole time. Is that true?
I did not hate her.
Okay.
That's interesting though, because we do tend to see things like have opposite viewpoints on characters in books often, which I think like adds, you know, to the discussion. But I actually did like, I mean, listen, you can't, I don't feel like you can have a main character just like you can't in a story, you know, in a TV show that doesn't get annoying to some extent. Like I feel like it's almost like their duty a little bit. Being written, but I did like her. I did find her really frustrating at times, but then I think when I would get frustrated, but then when it came back out and it rounded out the story, it made sense.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She does kind of go on a journey, and I would say that like this is kind of like using those tropes of like, this is in case, okay, so there's a cult trope in here in case anyone hasn't read this yet. This is like a culty type of book. I would say it's like suspense more than thriller, although there are quite a few twists in there, but it's very suspenseful, and it's very much like a character study and almost a coming of age of this main character, because you're seeing her when she's 16 or 15 and then when she's 35, and like all of those things that she's taken from that experience and that have kind of shaped who she is now, and she is very unlikable at times and unreliable, and so you don't really know what to expect from her. But yeah, I would say like don't come for the cult, you know, like, because I wouldn't say like if I'm trying to pitch this to somebody and they're like, I need a cult book, like this isn't necessarily the one I'm going to pitch to them for that, because it's like, even though a lot of the past timelines, the rattlesnake is all like remembrances of the cult, the aspect of the cult that I think people are looking for with cult books when they're saying like, I need a cult book recommendation, I don't think this is very deep.
No.
Like the whole, like all of their like rituals and things like that, like it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like, and I needed a little bit more of like backstory of how it came to be, like how the brainwashing happens and like that kind of stuff, because I don't know, it was just not satisfying.
Yeah, and that's actually my one complaint about the book, but I didn't want to get into it yet because I didn't know if we were giving our ratings and then diving into I feel like I have a tendency to not watch myself when it comes to spoilers versus non-spoilers. So,
but the fact that cult, I don't think is a spoiler.
No, and I feel like that was I feel like the rest of the story was, I feel like that was needed to build the rest of the story. Like that wasn't, it almost didn't feel like a main focus, even though it was the main focus, but it wasn't the main focus.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I felt too.
Yeah.
So that's just what I wanted to say for anyone that's like coming into this who haven't read it yet. Like I would not recommend this as like a cult story per se, although the cult aspect of it was fun. Like I do like that it's on the periphery, but there's so many things going on in this story, and it's not even like, a lot of people compare it to Bright Young Women by Jessica Knowles. And I did read this one and I gave this 4.5 stars. And I see the connection there, but at the same time, this one's more like literary, I guess, in a sense. And it has more commentary within it. Whereas like this one, you take the commentary after it. You know what I mean? Like after the fact.
Right. Okay.
This one felt more like suspense thriller, and this one a little bit more literary. But
so Bright Young Women's on my list, but I haven't read it yet.
Oh, it was really good. There was only like
Yeah.
the only part of it that made me a little bit kind of like, was that it's based on, like, it's never stated, but it's based on the Ted Bundy's killings, right? And it's a
Mm-hmm.
fictionalized version of the women that he killed. And the point of it is to like show the women's perspectives of the stories. But then at the same time, because it's a like real life people that they're kind of like putting into this, it's like they're still not telling their own stories. You're telling their story, you know? So
Okay. Yeah.
just have like ethical gray area in there, but nonetheless, it was like incredibly moving and really entertaining as well.
Okay.
That's not what we're here to talk about. So let's talk about ratings. Let's go ahead and give ratings, and then we'll go into spoilers.
Okay. Mine was like a 3.25 or 3. I would say 3.5. I'll say 3.5.
Okay, that's fair. For me, I was kind of vacillating in that 3.5 range. I think I am going to end up giving it 4 stars though.
Yeah.
It was good. I had a really good time with it. I liked the pacing. I felt like the going back and forth, like I didn't mind. I liked both timelines. So it was like, oh, when I got here, and I love how the past and timeline informed the current timeline. So like what you learn about in that little excerpt is going to come into fruition in the current timeline when they're talking about it in the documentary. So I was just like, even though I was like, oh no, don't tear me away from that one now, it's still like pertaining to it and still growing the information that you're, gaining from the current timeline. So yeah, I thought the pacing was awesome.
It was 4 stars until it got to where we talked about where it lagged on the background of the cult and kind of like the new. I feel like that was rushed, and that's what dropped. And I started losing a little bit. I was like, oh no, I was going so good. I loved it so much, and then it circled back and like brought it together. That middle part dropped me from like a 4 to a 3.5.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right.
But I mean, it's still a very good book. I would totally recommend it to anybody that just like wanted a good fun book to read with a little bit of dysfunction and stuff in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. The StreamYard is like, it is transcribing what you are saying underneath your little thing. Is yours doing that for me?
No.
I've never seen that before. And it keeps distracting me because I'm like, what are these words? It's just like, as you're talking. Like, giving me real-time transcription. It's creeping me out.
So weird. No, I don't know. I'm not doing it. It's not doing it on mine.
Oh, I can turn it off. Okay, there we go. That's better.
Okay.
Yeah, that kept distracting me. Sorry. Okay, so this is a debut novel. We're gonna go into spoilers now.
Yeah.
So for anyone watching who's not read the book, now's your time to exit. Come back and watch the rest of this after you've finished it. If you like to, or if you don't care about getting spoiled, then hang out. Totally up to you, but you have been warned. Okay, so Rachel Taff made this whole cute little packet with book club questions, as well as like Diana Golden's martini recipe, which we had considered making for this. I'm trying to be healthy, and so water, boring water.
We should have put it in a martini glass or a coupe, so we could at least.
Oh, we should have. That would have been darn missed opportunity. But yeah, she put this whole little thing together, and there's even like a playlist of like songs that go with the book, and like it's very cute.
I love that.
Yeah, she put in the extra effort, and as a debut author, like I think this is her first book, not just a debut in this like genre or something. And I think she did a really good job considering it's a debut. I did read some not so good reviews on Goodreads, some like 1-star reviews that were like very in depth and like actually like making good points, but at the same time I was like, oh, I can't let that like get to me, because for what it is, like this is it's a suspense novel. It's for fun and it's doing a lot of things, and I really like it.
I'm pulling it up while we're talking because I really want to see what I didn't read any reviews of this book. Where's she at? First of all, can we talk about the cover though? I give the cover a solid 4.5 stars.
Oh, the cover is great. I
Yeah.
did learn recently though that a lot of times the author has no say over their cover, which is shocking and disappointing.
Oh,
A lot of times,
that would send me spiraling. There's no way.
same, right? Like, so
Kidding me?
I wonder if she did or not. I bet if you have like a bigger, like, you know, publicist, what is it called? Publisher? There we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you have less control probably. I mean, obviously I don't know, but
I sorry, I'm reading I immediately just went to like the 1-star reviews to see what someone
yeah.
had said. And they're like, the FMC Lucy's a giant. Okay, she put spoiled, so she didn't know how to spell spoiled, so I'm gonna let that go. And I think she's supposed to be 30 something. Well, she is. If you read the book, you knew that. She is so irritating and annoying, you just want to slap her.
Yeah, and that was how I thought you were going to react to her as well. But I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, no, I mean, she definitely had some areas where I was just like, girl, what are we doing here? But but sometimes I think that like with characters like that, authors oftentimes don't don't have them grow enough and don't have them evolve enough in the story for you to change your mind about them. Whereas with her, I feel like you saw her spiraling. By the end of it, you understand why she is the way she is, why she was spiraling during, and there's an evolution of her character. I feel like that she did a good job in a less than 300-page book.
Yeah. I'm trying to find that one specifically that like it was really long and I sat and read the whole thing and I was like, wow. But I don't recognize.
But 2 people so far brought up the fact that they got it because of the cult stuff.
Yes,
and it's not.
And that's why I brought it up, because I looked at this and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like I should, like, people should know that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't find that specific one. Where really didn't enjoy this way. Where was it? Anyway, so let's just get into the questions.
Yes.
Okay, so number 1, all of these questions have like multiple questions. So I'll read the first one and then I'll read all of them and then we'll go back to like break it down. Lucy Golden profited from the story she told in Rattlesnake for 2 decades. What does she gain from this narrative and what does it cost her? How does she navigate the opposing roles cast upon her? Victim, villain, survivor, man-eater, muse. Which of these identities ring true as the novel progresses? So starting off about her story that she told in Rattlesnake, what does she gain from this narrative and what does it cost her? I feel like she gains the clout that comes with, okay, so we're in spoilers, right? So basically in the book, she says that she's the one that killed her father, but when we come to find out that it was Arthur.
Yeah.
And so she's gaining kind of the infamy that comes with that by telling it that way. And there's a whole lot of back and forth in here between like what it means to be a victim and can you be a victim type of thing. So I think she in that narrative is like putting herself on the pedestal, almost saying like, I did this and like whatever, but then she's not telling the truth. So it comes at the cost of like constantly for 20 years having to cover that up and having to, you know, make sure nobody knows, and probably makes her really paranoid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you see that she has a really hard time with keeping any sort of, she doesn't really have any friends. Like
she's sleeping around.
System that's not being paid is she doesn't have anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do think that it puts her in charge of the narrative and gives her a strength that she didn't have in reality from it.
Good point.
And she was young, but also like the whole, you talking about the victim part, right? That's one of their big things. There are no victims. There are no victims.
Which is just messed up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so she is the victim that got pushed into this cult. She has a lot of stuff, like when people say like, oh, I would never, like, couldn't be me, like that really kind of like irks her.
Yeah.
And then she's the villain because she is portrayed as this like man eater and this, you know, woman who killed somebody, who like she is the villain. But then also she's survived this. She's also like in different capacities the muse at different points, when she's with Arthur and he's taking her pictures, when she's with her mom. And there's also that discussion in here about kind of taking on people's, not taking on, but like benefiting from other people's trauma.
Yeah.
And so I feel like the muse is represented in this story in very much of like somebody that's been being taken advantage of, you know?
Yeah.
And
the man eater, which, listen, you know, as a woman, seeing women throughout, you know, and how they're portrayed in the media for 40 plus years, it is my own life, not obviously they've done this for, you know, ever, but my own life of 40 plus years.
Yeah.
It's crazy to pin her as a man eater in reality when you know that she's only been with, at the time that this happens, by the time that the book is out, she's been with 2 men, right? With, you know, someone her age, someone not her age.
Yeah.
And you know, and I think like putting that on her kind of made her into like her anonymous hookups and stuff that she was having because she doesn't trust people. Like having that narrative put on her by the media and her haters and all this kind of stuff, it almost feels like she became that in some way in reality because she was incapable of having or trusting anyone to actually have a relationship with her. So then she sought out and became kind of like this man eater, like, let's get down to business, you know, and do it. That she wasn't really.
No, yeah, that makes total sense to me because she literally can't trust like anyone in her life to do, like, especially when we get to the end and she realizes that her mom was in on it this whole time. Like, she really in the current day, in the current timeline, she cannot trust anyone. But she thought she had that with her mom. Even so,
Yeah.
like, she's been thrown around so much that it's not thrown around. That was bad phrasing, but like, she's just had not anyone to trust. And so she's desperate for human connection, but she cannot trust them. So she takes it to a certain point and then she pushes them away. But yeah, I think when it comes to like the question of which one of these identities rings the most true for her, I think it's all of them. She's all of them at one time. And just like anybody else, we're more than one thing. You can be a victim and a survivor and a man eater at the same time. And there's so many instances where we think that, what is it called? It's called like the flawed victim. Like, there's thing as a flawed victim. And so like if something bad happened to you and then somebody else finds out, oh, but she, you know, has an OnlyFans, or she, you know, does this, then like it changes their idea of what victimhood even is. Like, you can be both of those things and still be victimized. But you're never just one thing. There's never just one, you know?
And speaking of that, not to get told, and hopefully this isn't getting too off track, but when they bring in Theo and Theo.
Oh.
When they bring him in and like confront her with him and like she's ruined his life. My brother in Christ, you ruined your life. You just got found out. Like, what happened sucked, but all of this stuff that like allegedly ruined his life were his actions based on his family's actions, and it sucked because he got pulled into it. But you know, they put it on, and her mother, obviously terrible human being, like Lucy's mom, Diana, terrible human being. But they're putting all of this like god awful things, like his life is just ruined and just the worst because of a woman. And it's like, no, you were questioned and let go. They in the reality, like in real life, and not in real life, but in real life in the book, they pushed past that narrative pretty quickly after they interviewed him. And then it was the media. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was Diana, if it was the mom who also helped push this narrative because of her being caught with the dad and all these sorts of things that were going on. But once again, though, I just thought about that, of circling back around to him, because it's when you look at the whole man eater thing, again, this was still like a 16-year-old girl. and a teenage boy with him, like someone age appropriate. But to put it on a woman that and they're like, you're not taking any accountability. Did Theo take any accountability for all the dumb things that happened or that he had done that they latched onto, that the media latched onto? Like, those were still your actions. Like, the dad, they had to move from New York because of the dad's affairs with the mistress, not just 9/11.
Yeah, I
the
think something to that too, that it wasn't just 9/11, that something.
Yeah, for sure. And so then they circle back around, and it's like, my life wasn't the way I wanted it to be because of you.
Mm-hmm.
And you aren't taking accountability as a woman, and let's put it all on her. But he's not taking any, not once has he taken any accountability for his own actions affecting his life that happened to come out in the media.
Do you think that point was the point of his character? Because I was trying to kind of understand for a while, like, why is Theo even in this? Why is the like pink house even there? And I think it's to do with her, like, her ideal of what a family should be.
Yeah.
And her like wanting that, and then finding out that it's all fucked up way, you know?
Yeah. 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 I think seeing like all of that crumble only further eroded like trust and everything that she had, because here was this dad and this mom that are supposed to be like super loving and they're real into each other, blah blah blah. Meanwhile, he's had a mistress, her mom is all up on him, and they're having an affair, and her mom is just like, what? I'm not the one that's married. Well, and then when she refers to her, to, was it Melissa? I think Melissa and Colin, when she refers to Melissa Fowler, when the facade is breaking down and they're actually interviewing her, she confronts her mom, and she calls Diana calls Melissa a tart. I was like, girl, we are.
I didn't even catch that. Yeah, that doesn't look good. What about okay, let's talk about the commercialization of women's trauma, number 2. So the novel explores the commercialization of women's trauma. Where is the line between survival and exploitation? Does Lucy cross it? And does participating in the documentary grant her more control or take it away? What did you make of Isaac's process? And how else have you seen women's trauma being sensationalized for public consumption? Starting with the like commercialization of women's trauma, I think one of the main points that shows that is Diana's photography. And so they have friend Judy Temple, I think it was, who's a drag queen, and she gets beat up. And this is like the night before Lucy runs off to the desert. And she has been beat up basically for just living her life the way that she does. And instead of helping, Diana literally at first was like, I'll deal with it later, like not even gonna get out of bed for her. And when she was like, she's really hurt. But then she just gets up, grabs her camera, and essentially goes and just takes pictures of it and then reaps the benefits of that. So she is, and not just that, but it seems like that's kind of her MO. Like when people are at she's there to photograph it, and then this is deemed as art and has made her a sensational and, an icon essentially. So
I mean,
the line, like, what? How?
I don't know that in this day and time you can have one and wind up in the spotlight without some exploitation not happening. I think it's, I mean, maybe like Chanel Miller a little bit. I feel like she's owned her story in a way that like took over the narrative. But before that, it was being exploited, both
my name.
That's in terms,
memoir.
And so I will say Judy was my favorite character in the entire book. I'd read the entire book if Rachel Taff wanted to do a book just on Judy and like her side of the story. I would totally read it. I think that she, her strength and also her ability to be able and call her out and call out Lucy during those moments was really important. And but it also made me think about something when she was talking about that, when Judy was talking about like the mother being the one that's exploiting her and whatnot. And like on the one hand, like, does she have what she has because she got, you know, blown into orbit by those photos? But at the same time, that was her lowest moment. And she's the one pointing out, like, this is what your mom does. Like, I wasn't, you know, shouldn't even have been surprised. And but then I almost started thinking from in real life perspective, when you see art and you see photography of people in museums and whatnot, now all of a sudden I'm thinking like, well, were those people, was there a full consent going on there? Like, where were they at? Is this, obviously this definitely has happened at some point and will continue to happen, but like, to what extent are people in, you know, having their pictures taken at really low moments and someone else is profiting off of that?
It's very gray. It's very gray. Because like, yeah, you do think about like a photographer for like National Geographic, like taking pictures of like poor tribal children somewhere. And it's like, okay, well, that they should be able to do that for themselves. They should be able to, you know, own that for themselves, tell their own story. But at the same time, maybe they don't have the resources to tell their own story. So this person's going to come along and give them almost like a platform in order to be able to do that. So there is some like give and take in there, but it's just a really tricky thing because Diana is never going to experience the things that Judy has gone through, you know, because she's just not the same person. She has a different lived experience. And so like I mean, I guess that the consent would be a big like issue there. Because like it doesn't sound like Judy consented to that.
But it's almost like it's almost as if she was groomed with her narcissism, by Diana's narcissism. And I mean, we could talk that Diana is as much of a cult leader in an aspect in some ways as Max was, because she was able to manipulate people over the decades of her career to get to a point where they allowed her to photograph her at their weakest moment. I say allowed because, you know, people like that are highly manipulative and can probably make you feel like you're the center of a world for a moment, and it's really important, and what you bring in your story, you have to get it out. And then only to realize that it's really for their own benefit, and that's it, and that they would have nothing without the trauma and pain of other people. I mean, Diana would be nothing without that trauma and pain. I mean, even her first, Odette's father, you know, she caught him at a low moment, and that's what skyrocketed her.
Yeah, and I think the whole, like, another aspect of this that I enjoyed was her trying to find her own voice. And she starts, like, she has all these people around her. She's got Odette, who is this like rock star, her sister, and then she's got her mom, who is this photographer. Odette's dad was like some famous rock star too, and like she doesn't, at the beginning, she doesn't know who her dad is. And her mom is just, again, like you're saying, so manipulative and saying like, oh, well, if you don't do this, then you're never going to have a voice. You have to have a perspective. You have to have a point of view. And she is not seeing herself in her mom. She's not seeing herself in her sister. And she doesn't know her dad. And so like, she's like, who am I? Like, who even am I? And I feel like that's kind of something that like a lot of people can relate to. Like, and especially when she gets to know her dad and we realize her dad's a cult leader, and maybe we see some of those traits in her as well that her dad has. But then ultimately, I do think she's breaking the cycle, like at least starting, you know, because she's going through that whole character arc and that transformation of like understanding her own complicity and then like eventually coming around to a place where the truth is setting her free, you know?
I do wish and I think that was almost like as I was, you know, looking at these the reviews, I feel like a lot of people kind of maybe missed the mark, which not every book's going to be for everybody, but I think her arc of a character as a human in this book is one of the best parts of the book outside of just like the plot line of it. And yeah, I mean, and to some extent, right, there's, especially nowadays with her being like this true crime icon and all of that, there's a cult like parasocial relationship where these people that are her hardcore fans are like, we would do anything, you know, for you. If somebody came back in, like, you know, it starts off with someone like coming in trying to, you know, with the whatever he had to say on a gun or baseball bat or candlestick, I don't know, but can't remember, but you know, and people ride or die for her. So there is, I think, with anything like that, kind of like a cult, like very parasocial relationship happening that she has, that's carried her through, and she has to bank off of because she's been told that this is the only thing that's made her who she is. Mostly by her mom, but.
So what do you think about like the control? Like, so she has total control when she's writing her version of Rattlesnake, but when she's like allowing herself to be interviewed for the documentary, she is basically giving all of that control over to Isaac. And this is now Isaac's creative baby, you know? So, yeah, so she's like, she's desperate at that point, which is why she's a smart person. She's like going around trying to get any information she can, so she won't be. But yeah, I feel like that was probably a good catalyst for her because she's so used to being in this place of control. And now like this lack of control is really kind of setting her off and putting her on edge. And not just that, but then we have like the whole stalker thing, which didn't really come into play until like 50%, other than just like a couple little, you know, things here and there. So what do you feel?
I feel like she did a really good job of holding on to it. Like you can even see during Isaac's stuff where he's like so annoyed with her because she won't let down her guard. And she's
calculated.
Yeah, she's very calculated because she's not only protecting herself, but she's got this whole other story that while you know there's a secret, you don't know what that is and what that looks like. Like, I don't know. I think going in, I was like, did she kill more people? You don't like it was what the turn wound up being wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought them like maybe they like burned the place down and like you know all these other people died with it and whatnot in that sense, right? Like there was like way more to it from her end of what she did. And but I think like she really worked hard to maintain that control, and I think she would have been able to keep it to an extent had it not been for the stalker. I think that is which was, you know, as we learn, which was okay. Are we going to get to it, or do we want to talk about it now?
Oh, let's do it.
Did you figure out? Was there any point where you were like, I know who it is?
Yes, but I was wrong. Okay, I wrote down my predictions. Let me see.
Okay.
So on page 46, oh, that's when we learned that he was a cult leader. So not until page. At first, I thought that Sloane, I wasn't thinking that Sloane was her little sister, but I was thinking that she had a baby and that was her child. I was thinking that was her daughter, but then I was like, she's not old enough. Like, she would have to be, well, she would be 20. So I guess it kind of, we don't know exactly how old Sloane is.
Yeah.
But Sloane's actually only 5 years younger than her. So she's 30. I guess. So yeah, I thought that at page 241, I said, is Sloane Lucy's daughter from Arthur, who she gave up in the aftermath of her trial? Because they had been hinting that her mom had taken care of her. And I was like, she had a baby. Like she must have had a baby. But then I was like, in the trial, she must have been showing if that was the case, because they were saying that it was 6 months after the event. And so she would have been fully, like, she would have been showing by that time. So I'm like, okay, how are they going to explain that? You know? But it turns out that she did have a baby. Or no, she had a miscarriage, right?
Yeah.
She was pregnant, but she had a miscarriage. And so then we find out that Susanna is Lucy's half-sister and also Arthur's half-sister, which is like what? And then we have the whole relationship between her and Arthur, which was obviously inappropriate. Like the whole beginning of it, I'm like, why are we not mentioning that this is like grooming and that like this is so inappropriate? He's 25 and she's 15. I was just like, from the whole thing, I'm like, this is so gross. Why are we not acknowledging this?
Right? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was very concerned for a while when we get back to Tex and Sloan, but I was very concerned that the dad was
Arthur?
that Max was going to try to do something with his daughter.
With his children?
Well, specifically with Lucy.
Oh.
I was very concerned because they were like so amped about it being her 16th birthday. And like, you know, and I was like, oh no, I can't read this book if this is where it's going. Like, I'm gonna have to stop. And then she was going in for her special sessions or whatever. And I was just like, I don't like where this is heading. And thank God it did not head there. I don't know if it would have headed there. Like, I don't know if that's what that would have looked like at some point, but, yeah, I'm reading the comments. I feel like once it got to, where was it? It was honestly like right before it was revealed that it was Sloan, but it was when she went to that bar when she was at the hotel and she sent the wildflowers with the champagne and she received those at the hotel that they were at, was when I was like, it's not Arthur. I know in my gut it's not Arthur. I was like, I bet it's Sloan. And but in my head I was like, or Susanna. But then at that time you didn't know yet that Susanna was Sloan, and you know, quite yet. But that's when I was like, oh, I bet it's her. And then when it was revealed, I was like, yes.
I should have picked up on that when they were like going into depth about Susanna randomly. You know, like after the birth where like Eden is killed. Is that her name, Eden? Or was that Ivy?
Yeah.
No, Eden.
Yeah.
I kept getting them two mixed up. And she gives her the perfume and all of that. And I'm like, I knew that had to mean something, but like I didn't connect it until like that came out. And I was thinking it could have been Max the whole time too, because we didn't know that Max was dead until you know, farther in the book. So I was like, hey, it could be Max, could be Arthur. And that was kind of like where my head was at. But I did think that could have been Lucy's daughter. And I will say I had two people in my head as far as like casting these characters. I didn't cast Lucy, but in my head, Diana Golden is Julianne Moore.
Ooh, oh, that'd be great.
And Arthur is Adam Driver.
Really?
Yep. I totally pictured him as Adam Driver the whole time. Even like the Second Coming cult, and like he was all frail and everything. I'm like, oh, it's totally Adam Driver. So did you picture anyone in your head? I couldn't really get a hold of like what Lucy looked like in my head. Like
I can tell you, I did not envision Adam. I would not imagine a 16-year-old lusting after a 25-year-old Adam Driver.
Okay, well maybe I'm biased. Who would you think?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that now. Really
I think funny. When you're 16, like, if you're hanging out with a 25-year-old at all, you think they're cool. Just for the fact that they're like wise and old and like
that's fair. I also thought though that Arthur and Diana at some point it was going to be like, obviously they were in cahoots about things, but I thought it was going to be that they were doing it, like they were having an affair, and then he went after the daughter. I know, I wouldn't have either. That's really funny. I'm gonna have to think about that now, but it was definitely not Adam Driver.
It just show like where two people can read the exact same book and get different out of it, because that's exactly what was in my head the whole time.
I could see him as the old Arthur. I could see old Arthur for sure, but not like young Arthur.
Okay, all right. You don't think
I could see him being an old creepy?
Do you not think Adam Driver is good looking?
I mean, ish. No, I mean, no.
I do, but it's more of
not like. But there's a difference between like. I think he has a sexy quality about him. I do not think he's good looking.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Those can be two very different things.
I think one informs the other, right? So like
Yes.
the sex equality makes them attractive, right? That's how I feel about it
Yes.
anyway.
And whereas like there's definitely people, Adam Driver creeps me out.
I think that's part of why I like it too. He's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm giving it away, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I see one picture of him that I could get down with. I'll have to send it to you because I can't pull it up right now, but
right. But then also Diana Golden, like Julianne Moore, 100%.
Oh my gosh, 100%. And Julianne Moore, she's just like such a good actress. She would kill it.
Love her.
It. Can we talk about Diana for a moment? Like she's so awful. Like I just hated her every step of the way. And I just felt for Lucy, as infuriating as it was, that she was just constantly wanting nothing more than her mom's approval. And even with all the stuff that she does, I think the only reason that she kept holding her on a pedestal was that because she saw her as her being there during her worst time of her life, only to find out that she was the instigator behind the worst time of her life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so it's like pulling back the curtain. It's like the Wizard of Oz. You're like, oh no. And I do feel like once she realizes that, once they have actual proof, it's a 180. She's like, get out of my life. I'm putting your stuff on the lawn. I want nothing to do with you, which good for her because that's still her mom, you know, and that's still going to be a hard thing to do. But like,
and the manipulation the entire time, even when that scene is breaking down and her being like, her not even believing what she saw, like her refusing to just even be like, psh, I mean, you wrote the book, you needed to write it because what else would you have had if I hadn't done this for you? But also none of that actually happened. Like you guys were probably just like painting pictures or something. You know, I don't, you know, whatever. Like it was an artist commune. And then to find out that Ivy was there with her, that she was there with Ivy.
Yeah. So, okay. I didn't really understand that because Ivy was pregnant when they went together. Presumably.
Right. So she'd already had Odette. Diana already had Odette and the dad died. So she was at a vulnerable time in her life. And then Ivy.
Years older than Lucy.
Yeah.
So she would have, she wasn't there for as long as Ivy, obviously.
So no, Ivy stayed.
She had her little thing with Max and then got pregnant and left. Mm-hmm. But then Susanna is 5 years younger than Lucy. So that means it wasn't until 5 years, I guess maybe 3 years later, assuming, depending on how long she was staying, 3 to 5 years later, that she got pregnant again, and then they killed her when she gave birth. Right? Yeah. Does that add up? For some reason, I was feeling like it didn't add up. Like this 5-6 year difference didn't make sense.
No, it does. It does because Arthur and Sloane or Susanna are half siblings. Arthur and Lucy are not.
But Arthur's 10 years older than Lucy.
Yeah. So he would have been
10 when Lucy was born.
Yeah.
And then.
So she was there for a while. So if it was a hippie compound, she was there. She stayed with him. So she shows up pregnant, has Arthur. Diana shows up at the same time or together. I can't remember if they knew each other beforehand or not, but and then she shows up and she'd already had Odette. And at that time, it was just like a hippie commune.
Yeah.
And so.
According to Diana.
But Ivy was the first person that was murdered.
Yeah.
First mom that was murdered. So that actually kind of probably tracks that Diana was able to leave so easily while being pregnant with Max's child. And that during this time period, he's like getting his philosophy and being stuck in the desert all those years and whatnot, like refining what he thinks about. And maybe Diana, with being pregnant and her just leaving, may have been a catalyst for him to have gone kind of off the deep path of him like losing this woman and his kid because she like took off, and you know, obviously Lucy never saw her dad until she showed up to be indoctrinated. Yeah. And so like the time frame I think makes sense because Ivy didn't have any place to go. So then she gets into this, and then by the time that she's pregnant with Max's child, like that would, I feel like that does track. So they had like some good years where it wasn't too cuckoo, and then it went off the deep end, and Ivy was the first one to go.
Okay, yeah. So let's go over like the cult dynamic. So the idea is that Max gives birth to the new kind. The new kind are just Max's offspring. And so, but also like they're connected to the underworld. Is that what they called it? The underground, underworld, something like that.
Underworld.
When the sun goes down at night, it's like in the underworld, and they have to like fight it or something. I don't really understand. I don't really understand.
This is where the book lacks to me.
Yes,
that they don't really talk about like Max is the hero, but like what did he actually go through? But then again, too, would they really tell you, even as a good, they're like, he's faced death and he's saved people and he's traveled the world and he's done all these things. So he knows. But like, bro, what did you do? Like, I need to know what you did. Like, what did you see?
Yeah, what do you know? Like, he's saying that like your body is temporary. Like, we do not need to protect our bodies. Like, as soon as we die, we are even closer to the light. That is how we, like, essentially these women have been brainwashed to think that they have been brought to this earth in order to give him a child of the new kind. And after this point, they give themselves over to the underground or whatever it is. And they get to join the light. And so he must have, I think what I needed was more explanation of like why they want to go to the light, because for these women to so freely be like, no, you can kill me after I have my baby. And that's at like the point in their lives where they're going to be the most protective of that child, you know?
And only one. Like, I really feel like just as a cult leader, that's a really bad, like logistically, really bad use of your resources. like I almost feel like it would make more sense after you've had like a few, you know what I mean? Like have them pop out a few of them, rather than just offing them after one. Like that's just not a good use of your resources as a cult leader. I don't think that's sexually driven.
Well, I mean, I think that probably makes it easier for him to move on to the next one. Like if you're pregnant, you get his time and attention, maybe.
Yeah.
And then like, so you're like desperate for that time and attention and that focus on yourself. But then I guess like once that person is done, like he doesn't have to deal with them anymore while he moves on to his next like
victim. Yeah.
And speaking of victims, he's like, there's no victims, like nothing. If you're here, if you're in the mindset that there's a possibility for you to become or be a victim, then you are leading with your shadow self. And that also like kind of reminded me of, who is it? What science? There's a scientist that talks about your shadow side. Is it Maslow?
It's Jung. Carl Jung.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That kind of reminded me of that. So like, it was like,
they use it a lot. I mean, you know, again, when you talk about culty stuff, and I could easily dibble dabble a little bit. I mean, in psychedelics and all that sort of stuff, Carl Jung is a huge, huge influence, which they do mushroom tea while they're out there.
Yeah, that's right. Is it?
Yeah. I was like, see, this is how I would have gotten in. I'd have been like, what? We're gonna dance at the moonlight and drink some tea? Like, sign me up. Next thing you know.
Next thing you know,
I heard the first person's. Yeah. I'm like, oh no. Well, and then like with Arthur, was Arthur not? This is gonna sound so disgusting, but like not getting a go at anybody. I'm so confused. Like, why was?
I don't think so. I think that's why he kind of like focused on Lucy, because he was like, not
like
only
the dad's not gonna touch her.
Yeah.
So let me get a piece.
He's like claiming her, but also like he's bringing himself closer to that leadership position by being with her. Then he gets to feel what it's like to be the leader with Max. So that maybe like is where he got the taste for it. And when with Max gone, just opportunistic, I guess, just like was like, well, it's me now. I was wondering for much of the book, like, why does Arthur even get to be there? You know, like, why keep Arthur around? But then when I realized that he was Ivy's first child, I guess it makes a little more sense. And he needed somebody, Max needed somebody to like take over when he was gone.
Yeah.
Even though he probably didn't think it was going to be so soon.
But so is he okay? I'm maybe now I'm confused because they made it seem as if Arthur, or maybe they were just, it was the picture that was being painted to make him seem more innocent at the time than what he was. They're making it seem as if like Arthur was the first time, or that Eden was the first time Arthur had seen what had been done to the pregnant women, which is confusing because he's literally been there since his mom was like, since before his mom was killed. Yeah. And he was like, would have been old enough because he was 15 years older than the sister, than Susanna / Sloane. So that means that he would have been like 15 at the time that his mother was murdered during birth, and then all these other women. So was he just like not taking part, or did they make him? I don't know. That part was confusing. See, this is why I'm saying there were aspects that she should have, that I feel like she could have delved into to build out, and probably and still like maybe taken a few other things out to make ways that way the book wasn't insanely long, but that she could have left out and grown upon to. Anyways, I don't know. Like that's the part that was lacking for me. I felt like I feel like that was rushed, and she built the cult because she had this other bigger story around it, and the cult had its place, but like that's not what the book is really about.
Yeah. Totally agree. Well, we didn't do a very good job following the questions. We got through like 1.5. Are there any other ones on here that you want to address before we call it?
Let me see. Oh my gosh, I don't have my.
About Tex Watson 86.
Yeah.
The Oasis women's bodies are considered vessels for children. Ugh, products of Max's ideology. What about the title of the book? Talked about it didn't come into play until I can't remember what specific point it was, but she was like,
it was hold on. It was I actually like, where was it? Yeah. A paper cut. It's she broke the bottle of perfume because Sloane still had it that she gave her from Odette. And she said, a paper cut, the invisible wounds we inflict on ourselves, the white lies, the split-second life-altering decisions, the raging quiet regrets damage us the most. All these years, I've lied to protect someone I once loved and soothe truth's brutal sting.
What page is that?
That is 268.
Yeah, there was a lot of good writing towards the very end, too, like wrapping it up. It did wrap up pretty neatly, I felt like, although the end, they get the applause for their, like, they're at, that they do the year later, and they're at the opening night of their documentary, and you kind of understand, like, the things that have happened since the filming or whatever. But then at the very end, everybody just gets their applause, ready to take a bow. We wait for the applause we deserve. That's what it is. Yeah. So she's talking to her and Isaac, and that line kind of is sinister, don't you think? Like that. I
don't know if it was just her and Isaac, or maybe her also talking about all of the women that had been found, all of the women that were across the cult. Like I read it as more as like all of the women and kids that were part of it that were now like their truth had come out because she was finally able to tell her truth, even if she was kind of forced into it a little bit.
Well, if you think about it though, because we talked about Diana's art being like, you know, profiting off of, you know, other people's trauma. Well, if you think about it at this moment, Isaac is doing the same thing.
Oh, sure. Right?
Yeah. He's profiting off her trauma.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's like that it's come back around where like she's she's lost that bit of agency in telling the story, but she still deserves the applaud because she did go through it and it's the actual truth this time.
Yeah,
Or
and I think too
like,
that she's constantly like her entire story is also that with her mother as well and her sister, right? Is feeling that she's never living up to. She's not really deserving of being enough, of being good enough, of being talented enough, of all of these things of not being enough. So maybe this is the point in her life where she broke down those walls, she told the stories,
yeah.
and now she's enough. So now maybe this is the first time in her life where she feels like she actually deserves the applause that she's getting, as opposed to feeling like a fraud.
Yeah. Actually, it says a lot about that right here. So on 287 at the bottom, it starts, the woman who raised me led to believe I wasn't capable of being a great artist if I didn't take risks. I believed her and it nearly cost me my life. Lately, I've been rethinking what being an artist demands of you. I have to believe you can create art without destroying your sense of self and replacing it with a mask you're told to wear. Authenticity is more powerful than performance. So maybe it's like that now she's truly authentic. She actually deserves the applause because this is like her real story.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I like it.
Yeah.
I like Painful Circle. I liked all the little things. I like the kind of like feminist moments where we're talking about, you know, women's lives, and just anyone's lives who are not, you know, don't have the same kind of privilege as other people, and how we make art of that, and how that reflects on everybody else. I just liked her as a character. I liked that she was unreliable, and she actually reminded me a lot of, let's just get into comp titles. She reminded me a lot of the character from Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. What do you say? Libby Day. That's right. Oh, have you read this one? No. A lot of people's favorite Gillian Flynn is Sharp Objects, and I love Sharp Objects, but this one's my favorite. And
that's so funny. I was just about to look up because I was like, I feel like even though there was not a cult in Sharp Objects, there were some similarities a little bit. And that was a main character I could not stand.
Oh, the main character from Sharp Objects?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I can kind of see that too. Like, she was a lot, but she was very like messed up, you know, that character.
She was fully messed up. I like started off liking her, and then by like midway through I was like, oh God, she's insufferable. And in fact, I disliked everyone but like her boss and his wife in that book. Everyone was just, well, and that teenage kid too, not to get off on a totally different book, but the poor boy that's in it, that whose sister had been murdered, and like accepted her. He was like 17, 18 years old, you know, whatever the case may be. So like him, because I felt really bad for him, and then her boss and the mom and his wife were like the only people in that book that were remotely likable. Like the rest of them could just like awful.
Well,
awful people.
I don't know if you like her either then, because Libby Day is like, so she was 7 years old when her 15-year-old brother at the time murdered her entire family. And so this is also a timeline, and it's like back and forth between the actual day of like the murders and current day. And in current day, she, similarly to Lucy, is like, she's been living off of this tragedy her whole life. Like basically like people giving her money, and she's just like, it's running out. There are younger like people who have gone missing and are now getting the attention from the media and all of that. So she doesn't have any money. She doesn't have any skills. And she's basically like, she's an alcoholic. She's, if I remember, like, she's just very messy.
Yeah.
And she meets this guy who is like the head of this true crime club, and they all think that her brother is innocent, and he's going to pay her to come to their little club and let them interview her. And so about this, we're getting like new things that we're learning about in present day from this little club, and then we're getting like the past story of what happened, and you kind of like connect the dots. So it's format wise, it was similar. And as far as like the main character being like this unlikable and very gray area type of character, it reminded me of Paper Cut in that way.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
might have to check it out. That's the only book by her that I've read or like listened to has been Sharp Objects. That one I did listen to an audiobook. So I may have to get, because she's Gone Girl, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I might do that one next rather than something I may or may not like, because I feel like I might like Gone Girl.
Gone Girl is great, and it's darker than the movie. Have you seen the movie?
No.
Wait, so you don't know the twist or anything with Gone
Girl? No.
Oh, okay. Yes, read it, please. Read it.
All right.
Okay,
sounds good. I will do that. Yeah.
Do you have anything else that you would compare this story to that you think like if people like this they might like, or if they liked it they might like?
I mean, this is nonfiction, but I think Helter Skelter would be a good if it's I would say if you're looking more into the cult aspect, then definitely like Helter Skelter, because it's just a fascinating.
I haven't read that one. The book that
I read it years ago. My dad was real into true crime, so we had, and like Anne Rule, he was a big like Anne Rule fan, but he also had like Helter Skelter at the house and stuff, and yeah, so definitely interesting. But I think too, what's interesting about it, even just from like at the beginning of we were doing the game, is like how just ordinary and unoriginal all of these people are, like the leaders, right? Like it's the same, whether it's self-help, and listen, I like some self-help and whatnot, so I'm not even gonna poo-poo on it to an extent, but obviously there's an exploitive nature behind it, and same thing with like organized religion, like a lot of it kind of just all plays in together, but at the end of the day, and it's usually men, and they're just so unoriginal and predictive and predictable, and I find that to be just really disappointing. Like it's once you're able to step away from it, like I could totally see how people could come into a cult when you're at your lowest and people are telling you whatever. Dude, I was like real in some stuff when I was in my 20s. I could totally see how people could go into that sort of mentality of like a communion, and because I mean I think people are struggling for a community, so I can see how that sort of a cult, even more so than like self-help, I can totally see that. But again, like from Charles Manson to Max in this book, like these guys are just it's just so unoriginal. Like come up with something new, you know what I mean? Like
they don't understand. It's basically that's the rhetoric, is no one else understands because you are free, and like you're free. They're not free. They're living in their shadow selves. They're feeding their shadow selves. They could never understand. And it's a, that, and also separating them from other people who might say, oh, that doesn't sound right. It's, feeding them different logic. It's, having them starve in the desert. And, after a certain point, you're definitely more assuageable. Is that a word? Like, or what's
good? I don't know if it is, but it's good. It's sounding good.
More vulnerable for sure.
Yeah. You know what we didn't mention, and I'll just mention this really quickly, is who was kind of heartbreaking is Fiona, the one who stayed with Arthur, and like she obviously could not have babies, and she was a hardcore drug addict, and then like the only reason she was still around was because when there's something rotten inside, was she had made that comment when they found her for the documentary. And so she hadn't had any, it doesn't sound like she'd had any kids. And that's why she was still alive, but also she like accepted the fact that like she was rotten inside and wasn't able to have, which she didn't, obviously in cult talk, like anyway. So that was just, I remember when she came out, I was like, no.
Yeah. Was she the gap tooth?
Yeah.
Oh, so sad. I didn't really put that together, I guess, that she couldn't have babies and that's why she was still alive. But that makes total sense. Yeah. It's
also interesting because I don't know that Arthur would have been able to continue if maybe Fiona hadn't been there.
Yeah.
Because he would have had to start over completely from scratch, but Fiona never left.
Mm-hmm.
But,
All right. Well, I feel like we pretty much touched on most of the stuff I wanted to touch on, so we don't need to talk about that. I just randomly wanted to mention that I restarted Project Hail Mary. I read this a few years ago, and now that the movie's out, I've been in such a reading slump lately, and I actually reread Pretty Girls last month by Karen Slaughter. like, that's one of my favorite books. It's 5 stars. And it like disappointingly like did not do it for me like it did the first time. Maybe it's just because I already knew the twist, like all the twists and stuff. Maybe like I don't know, but I was just like, oh, I'm not feeling this. And I was really like, that was the reason I read it, because I was like, I'm not getting it from these other books. Let me get to like my favorites, right? So I just restarted this one yesterday, and already I'm like so into it. I'm obsessed.
Are you listening to, are you reading the physical, or are you listening to it, or are you doing immersive?
I have so far only listened. I just picked this up off my shelves, but I'm like maybe 20% in.
So I'm having the same issue I had with my totally different things, but everyone has said how great the audio is, right? And I've had it for like a year, and I cannot get into it. And I'm not a huge sci-fi person, but it's like one of those things like that in fantasy I'd like to dive into a little bit more, and see if I can find something that kind of like sticks to my bones with it. But I'm thinking about maybe picking up the physical just to see if it's like the book that I don't care for, or and I'm going to say this, like, I think the audio is great. I think the narrator's a great book or narrator, but I just like can't get into it based off of that, which is often the case sometimes with me with audiobooks. So I think I might try it physically and just see if it's the book, or if it's just I can't get into the audio book of it.
Yeah.
Because I get book FOMO when everybody's like, oh yeah, it's amazing. I'm like, I want to see it.
Yeah. And I cannot wait to watch the movie, because it's been getting so much praise. The movie just came out with Ryan Gosling.
Yeah. Sandy, Donna, Renee. I haven't even asked her. I'm gonna have to ask Sandy when I'm done with this, that's my housemate for everyone's watching this, and if what she thought of it, because she hasn't read the book, but she saw the movie on Friday.
Oh yeah, and I'm super excited to see the movie, but I was like, I need to reread the book because I don't remember, because I'm seeing like my Instagram feed is like 80% Project Hail Mary comments and stuff right now. So I'm like, okay, I don't remember it. I gotta reread it. So, and I'm really excited that I'm like back into it, and I'm like, I feel good about like picking it up, and I'm like excited to read it. And then what else? I just want to remind everybody that for next month, or like 2 months, for May, we are going to be reading Her Last Breath by Taylor Adams.
Ooh.
But this is what Beverly like. And Ashley from Ashley's Little Library read it, and I saw her wrap up, and she said it was like, I think that she said it was really good. And so I'm excited for that.
Ooh, this sounds good.
It's like a cave, tight spaces horror with like 2 friends, and I think they don't know exactly who each other is. Maybe I should just read it.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds good. And caving is one of those things that we don't really have to do as people, so you can find yourself never in that situation.
One of them's a travel influencer, and one of them's a legal assistant. And they go down, and then there's somebody down there, and they're kind of like rude to him, and he retaliates. And then Tess gets trapped, and they're fighting to stay alive. And then 24 hours later, I guess one of them lives and the other one doesn't. And she's got to try to figure out, like, we got to figure out what happened.
Interesting. That actually sounds really good.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to be reading in May. Also, I am currently editing my most anticipated for Q2. So that's going to be April, May, and June. And so I'm going to try to get that out this week. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. There's a lot of good ones coming out. And then what about you, Saundy? Do you want to reiterate?
Yeah, so I just finished Half His Age, the Jeanette McCurdy book. I really liked it. So I'm going to do a little bit. I'm trying to, for mine, as I am trying to get into the, like, I'm doing school stuff still, work full time, not great with consistency. So I think I'm just trying to like really get consistently reading books again. And I think that wanting to be, kind of do a booktube is a great way to be able to do that. And
thanks so much.
And so but I've got a ton of books. I've got some ideas for videos, but I'll also maybe like, I'm not an editor like you. Maybe that'll be something I try to learn over this year. So I finally just like, I think I just need to get out there and just start talking about it, and doing the films, and it doesn't have to look all, super aesthetic quite yet and whatnot. And I think just like doing it right is one of the first steps. So my thing is like, I really want to get consistent with reading, and then I've got like a totally again, because I feel like I go through slumps. So I'm not going to put a number and be like, oh, I need to read like 50 books this year or 100 books. This year I want to really get into like reading every day because I love it, and it's been such a huge impact on my life. And so I think that this is a good way of holding myself accountable. But I'm listening to Physically Read Half His Age, listening to Lucy Foley's Midnight Feast.
Oh, I have not read that one. I have not read that. I've read a few of her books, or at least 2 or 3, but I've not read that one. Midnight Feast. Is that the newer one?
Is it what?
I'm thinking of The Hunting Party. If that's I think that's Lucy Foley too. Actually, I think it's
I think so. This one is like a Richie rich person builds a she inherits a manor, and she turns it into like this super bougie resort for rich people, but she does it in like Irish farmland.
Oh.
And so I don't know what's going to happen yet. I'm still listening to it, but I really like it so far. And then I just finished listening to my first Frida McFadden book, which you know what? It's a good brain cleanser.
Which one was
The Locked Door? The Locked Door.
Okay. Wait, I think I read the Housemaid.
Yeah, like the popular. I just watched that movie. I haven't read the book, but I watched the movie. The movie was pretty good. I mean, not because of Sydney Sweeney. I don't know that girl could act her way out of a paper bag, but Amanda Seyfried, I never know how to say her last name.
Yeah,
she's fantastic.
Seyfried? I don't know.
I don't know. But anyways, and I've got like just like some I've got some ideas of what to do. I just need to make the time to like do it. You know what I mean? But I'm excited. So if anybody sees this, go follow me. So I'm not talking to the boy.
On Instagram, on YouTube. It's going to be linked below as well. So you can just go easily down below, click that link, and you will find her. What else? Oh, I need to know, since you finished the Jeanette McCurdy, is there grooming, or is that not part of it?
It is.
Okay.
But not in the tradition, not like in a My Dark Vanessa kind of way.
Okay. Because that's where I thought it was going, but okay.
I don't think you can, and anyways, we'll have to have a discussion regardless of whether or not maybe tomorrow at Chili's.
So excited. Yeah. Okay, well, let's call it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching live. Thank you for watching the replay if you're watching the replay. And again, don't forget we do every other month. So there's no book in April, and I don't know the date of the live discussion for May yet, but I will let you know as soon as possible on my Instagram at the Midnight Society Book Club. And we'll see you again soon. Stay tuned for my most anticipated coming up. And have a great rest of your Sunday. So we're going to log out. I will see y'all later. Oh, go stay back.